Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another reaction video, and today I'm going to be reacting to Discourse Is Dead by Architects. They have just dropped their new album, For Those Who Wish to Exist, today, and I heard this song that we're about to do on the live stream performance last year, and that's the only time I've heard it. It sounded amazing. I also heard Dead Butterflies for the first time on that live stream, but they didn't release this one as a single, so going into the album, this was one I knew I wanted to do a video for. Otherwise, I'm not sure. So let me know in the comments what other songs off this album you'd like to see reactions for. We've had an interesting variety with the singles. I was about half and half. For me, I really loved Animals. It was my favorite by far. And Dead Butterflies was also really good. The other two singles, Meteor and Black Lungs, I didn't like as much. Meteor, specifically the chorus, just didn't really work for me. But that doesn't mean that the whole album won't have a bunch of stuff I don't enjoy. It may not, but I'm definitely going to find out. This is where I'll start, so I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. I'm excited to listen to it with headphones. Now there is a chorus. Yep. See, had this been released as a single, this and Animals easily would have been my favorite. Yeah. It has been a minute since they did the performance too, so I don't totally remember everything about the song. Oh. It is as good as I remember. There we go. All right, so Architects, Discourse is Dead. Let's discuss. I love this track, and standing this next to Animals, I'm really not sure which one would be my favorite, but it would be one of those tracks for sure off the album. I've only heard the singles plus this track, so I really don't know. I don't know. And when Animals dropped, people were saying in the comments like, "Oh, this isn't like that weird for Architects. Have you ever listened to like their older stuff?" But like, it was different. Animals is entirely different than like the Hereafter, anything that people are talking about in the comments. It just has it had that shock value to it. So I think that, along with it just being a fantastic song that I like to listen to, kind of give it an advantage that Discourse Is Dead doesn't really have. Discourse Is Dead has the uncleans that are reminiscent of the sound that I think that a lot of people that haven't been happy with the singles were looking for on this album. And I think that speaks to, it's a 15-track album. There's obviously different sounds in here, because this sounds nothing like Animals, sounds nothing like Meteor, which is why I feel everyone's thoughts on these songs are all over the place, because also people seem to forget that taste is subjective and everyone has different opinions on this stuff. So something that's been really interesting about the people who do enjoy the singles enough to where they like have ranked them and we've discussed them, it's been all over the place. So for me, having like it be number 1 as Animals, 2 as Dead Butterflies, 3 as Black Lungs, and 4 as Meteor, a lot of people had that shuffled around, and it just goes to show how different they are. And I think that that's a good indicator that this is one of those albums that people like myself, who enjoy what I've been talking about too much lately on the channel, listening to albums in order, where that will come into play to see how those different sounding songs work together, like where they're placed in the album. Because like this track, I looked and it's number 4, Animals is 10, and I'm just interested in how they like flow with each other and what order they chose to put the songs in, what other sounds are on the album, because this had, like I was saying, in those uncleans, it had the Sam voice that a lot of people know, and in the Royal Albert Hall performance, the performance he did was, some of the lows almost sounded like guttural, like very much you could tell that his voice is still capable of doing that when he wants to, and that they're just wanting to do these different sounds, which makes sense. But it makes me wonder if this is the heaviest track on the album, what other heavy tracks are on the album, because I do love that as much as I love songs like Animals, which are not heavy at all. So a lot of people, when I posted my Meteor reaction, it seemed like they hadn't watched my Animals reaction or heard anything else that I said about the album, which was that we should wait until it drops and just take each song as its own song and kind of see how the only time I really try to look at, like, for me, like, I try not to let my opinion on Meteor affect my opinion on Discourse Is Dead, because for me, if Discourse Is Dead had, like, if you swapped out the chorus with Meteor, it would have the song would have taken an extreme hit for me, and I would have had some critiquing to work into the video and that sort of thing. But I loved the chorus on this. I think it kind of worked in the newer elements that we're hearing in Animals and some of their new tracks, along with their older sound, kind of like fusing those together, because I love what they did by dropping Animals as the first single, though, to just kind of like, because everybody was talking about this. This was a huge topic of conversation, whether people were disliking Animals when it dropped, whether they were loving it. It was everywhere, and everyone had an opinion on it. And I think that was really smart too, because a lot of people have been watching for this album, even if it's not necessarily for a good reason, like they didn't like the singles and they're like, I'm gonna listen to this album so I can trash it on the internet. They're still getting streams and stuff like that. So even though there's songs like Meteor, for me, I probably will skip that every time, because I think that songs like this and Animals are so much better. But they're also able to maybe put out an album, I haven't heard the full thing, that is capturing the taste of a wider audience, kind of like what Bring Me the Horizon has done. And a lot of people don't like that, but at the same time, it does make sense as to why people do it. For me, there will be songs like this, though, where, you know, I'll listen to them probably a bunch of times. This is a fantastic song. I really dug the uncleans. I dug the instrumental elements, other than just your basic instruments that you could hear. The Royal Albert Hall performance, they nailed. There were elements of so many different instruments, and I think that's really what I've been enjoying. And we saw that too with Holy Hell, and Architects has changed and went back to multiple sounds throughout their discography, but in terms of like the last 3 albums prior to this one and this, I really like what it says so far. But again, this is a 15-track album. There's been 2 songs that were meh for me and 2 that were fantastic. I would almost now like bump Dead Butterflies down a notch to like very good, unless it's the live performance version. But Discourse Is Dead and Animals are going to be my 2 favorites. Let me know what you thought in the comments and what other songs off of this album I should try to do reaction videos for. And if you have a different song that you'd like to see added to either of the lists that I work off of when I'm doing request-based videos, both links will be in the description, along with the Linktree link, which has the invite for the Discord server, which is something I talk about quite frequently. There's a bunch of different conversation going on in there. If that is something that you're interested in, that will be there, as well as my Instagram profile link. My handle on there is Rachel Reacts, same as my YouTube channel, but I will put it up here on the screen for you, as well as you know where it will be in the description. I post my vinyl collection, merch, what I'm listening to the most, that sort of thing. So if that interests you at all, that's where it will be. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.